table that I gave you and the 5 functions that we said we would be working with. This is y equals x cubed plus x squared minus x minus 1. Now, very importantly, you've got your x-intercepts already, you've got your y-intercepts, you now need to find the turning point and you need to sketch this curve. I'm going to pause over here, allow you some time to complete it, and then you can come and play the video again, right? So please pause at this point. Okay, so by now I hope that you've sketched the curve. I'm quickly going to list the x-intercepts. Ahad, can I get the x-intercepts, please? Quickly.
Which one is that, number 4?
Number 3.
Negative 1 and 0.
Mm-hmm.
Negative 1 and 0 again.
Mm-hmm.
And then 1 and 0.
And then 1 and 0. Now remember, guys, when I said when something repeats itself like this, then you know that this already must be one of your turning points, right? Because it's like crossing the x-axis, turning around again. Okay, what's the y-intercept? Negative?
The y-intercept is 0 and negative 1.
0 on the x and negative 1 on the y. Okay, let's quickly go through this process. This is y equals x cubed plus x squared minus x minus 1. Step 1 was dy by dx, right, which is equal to what? 3x squared plus 2x minus 1. The next step was to equate this to 0, which gives me 3x squared plus 2x minus 1. I can now factorize this, and I got what? X plus 1 and 3x. Is it 3x minus 1? So that gives me minus 1. That gives me 3x squared. That gives me minus x plus 3x. Right. Okay. Now the third step was to solve for x. And x therefore equals what? Positive 1 over 3. And here x equals negative 1. Now we already know when we substitute in negative 1 in this function, I'm going to get negative 1 and 0. Here I have to go and substitute in positive 1/3. And what do I get? Okay, at this point I got minus 1.19, right? That's almost 1.2. Okay, so now we use that. The turning points here, guys, that's going to be 1/3. Let's just use violet again so we can color code this. 1/3, negative 1.19. And the other turning point was minus 1 and 0. Now again, I'm going to sketch this on a curve. Okay, and let's put our intercepts in. That's minus 1 and 0, and that's positive 1 and 0. Remember, this happens twice, so that must be a turning point as well. And then 0 and negative 1, there's 0 on the x and minus 1 on the y. That's the y-intercept. And now we need to have our turning points that needs to come somewhere in between these things, right? That's going to go in violet, so that one turning point is at minus 1 and 0, so we already know what that's going to look like. Okay, and then the other one is going to be positive 1/3, which is just before 1, it's 1/3 in, minus 1.19, which has to be here, right? Because this was negative 1. Okay, so 1.19 is round about there, which I'm going to make a circle like that. Okay. Okay. So now we just have to join the curve, which means I'm going through there, there, and then a turning point here. Right. Okay, I'm going to use brown for this one. I'm going to start this side because my curve needs to be more positive, which is something we've covered in a previous video. Goes like that. Turning point I turn, intercept I cross over, turning point I turn, intercept I cross over, and that's my curve. Okay, let's look at what this looks like on Desmos. Then over the last 10 minutes of the lesson, I'm going to let you do the last two curves. Okay, so this was x. Let's just pull that a little bit out of the way. This is y equals x to the power of 3, x cubed plus x squared minus x minus 1. Does that look like the curve we've drawn? Turning points is minus 1 and 0. 1/3 and negative 1.185, yes. Intercept at 1 and 0, and another intercept there at negative 1 and 0. Okay, so that concludes example number 3.